feature and get started now. Visit GoBarton.com.
Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
Really good start there for BYU.
Trevin Nell, too strong on that one, but the offensive rebound, Kava Keita for BYU. Richie Saunders launching a three.
Tonight, we were 1 foot in, 1 foot out in how we guarded and a lot of other things right from the jump. I mean, it was crystal clear how we wanted to try to guard them, and right from the jump, we doubted it.
You know, for us, like, it comes down to playing fast. Like, we're at our best when we're playing downhill, and we're making quick reads and we're sharing the ball. And I feel like that's what we did.
I think so, so then we can get off our feet a little bit and kind of just put in some other things that we've been wanting to work on that we just haven't been able to put in just because we're trying to save some legs a little bit, So we'll add a few things. There's a couple of zone things, a couple of trap situations.
Very pleased. We talked last week, and I was thinking kind of had two in for sure. One of them almost didn't make it. Of those two, got a little second chance with the wild card, and I thought, maybe we could get up to 4. And so taking 5 when I was thinking 2 to 4 I was very pleased with the weekend.
I mean, it's awesome. I honestly didn't expect it. I knew that my weight in my region had, at one point in the year, had about 5 kids ranked in the top 10 for the nation, and that it was going to be hard, and there was a few kids on there that weren't even ranked and had teched me throughout the year.
This game's about a lot of things, but leadership is incredibly important. I've got great confidence in these two guys. I love the way they work together. We have an incredibly good relationship with a shared vision, and it comes from him, and understanding what's important to him is important to us. I mean, that's our boss. Just the fact that they trust our front office to move forward.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to Sports Day on 1590 KVGB, 95.5 FM, the talk of the town. Welcome into the Wednesday show. Steve Webster with you, riding solo here along with executive producer Landon Winkler on the program today. On the show, well, weather impacts schedules. It also impacts our show a little bit. Normally on Wednesday, we talk Great Bend Lady Panther basketball with head coach Jade Winter. Well, she's having trouble getting just out of her house. That's why school is closed as we continue to dig out from almost 9 inches of snow here in Great Bend. So Jade won't be with us. We'll hear from her before the Lady Panthers take on Dodge City on Friday night at the Panther Fieldhouse. So we're going to hear a little bit of last night's post-game press conference with head coach Bill Self. Otis Bison boys basketball coach Curtis Little is going to join us on the program today. I want to ask him about that Central Prairie League this year. My goodness, that's very balanced. There's been some upsets in the league, and it's been pretty deep on both the boys and girls side. We'll talk about the Cougars, who will make up a game tomorrow with Maxville, and they'll have one more game, and then, heck, we're getting down to sub-state time. So we'll talk Otis Bison basketball today, and we'll check in with the voice of the Fort Hays State Tigers, Gerard Wellbrock. Also, all the rest of the headlines that have taken place so far today. It's been fairly quiet thus far. But we'll begin with the sounds of the past 24 hours or so. Man, what a train wreck KU basketball is right now. The call on ESPN2, Richie Saunders nailed a second chance three-pointer. That was early in the game. BYU scored the first 8 points. KU tried to make it. I don't know if they tried or not, but they got it within 8 points. BYU went like a long scoring drought. KU didn't make up that many points during that time. Wow, BYU wins 91 to 57. Jayhawks suffering back-to-back losses for the first time this year. They committed 15 turnovers, allowed 52% shooting. The 34-point defeat tied the biggest defeat under head coach Bill Self. And to hear him after the game, we'll hear more. But 1 foot in, 1 foot out. They weren't committed to what they were trying to do defensively. BYU played great, but to get beat by 34 points, as Bill Self said, he was embarrassed after that game. Richie Saunders scored 22 points to lead BYU. That was their third straight win, and it was significant enough of a victory that, well, they called him up in the locker room from ESPN Game Night last night and had him on the air talking about it was a special one for BYU to get. KU has not led through its last 80 minutes in basketball losses to Utah Saturday, last night to BYU. KU, I don't know, they're coming home Saturday. What do you expect? They host Oklahoma State. You would think they'd be able to win that one. But, wow, KU now is 8-7 in the Big 12, 17-9 overall. And, again, remember, this was a team that was the preseason number one ranked team in the country. Right now, man, social media has been lighting up about KU's players. People want to get rid of Bill Self. That's crazy. But 8-7 right now in the league, and BYU's currently in fifth. They're 9-6. Houston leading the league by 2 games over Arizona. Houston won again last night. The fifth-ranked Cougars beat Arizona State 80-65. TCU knocked off ninth-ranked Texas Tech last night at home in Fort Worth, 69-66. And Iowa State picked up a win at home. They beat Colorado last night, 79-65. So Houston at the top of the standings, newcomer. Arizona, newcomer. They're 12-3, 2 games back. Then Iowa State and Texas Tech now tied for third at 11-4. BYU's 9-6. KU tied with Baylor and TCU at 8-7. Yeah, it's a muddled mess in the middle. Utah, Kansas State now 7-8. West Virginia 6-8. And you just go on down the list. Colorado now finally picked up a conference victory. They're 1-14. Coming up Saturday, mentioned KU is at home against Oklahoma State. It's going to be a 3 o'clock tip at Allen Fieldhouse, and that game's going to be on CBS. But CBS is happy they've got that game now. Let's see. Kansas State will play on Sunday, and they're going to take on Arizona State. So that will be in Manhattan. That's going to be a Sunday game on February 23rd, and that game will be on ESPN+. Jeremy Combs, head coach of the Barton Cougars, talking about what his team's doing this week. Thought the break came at a good time. Cougars off tonight. There may be a lot of teams off. We'll have to see how the Jayhawk Conference schedule goes. But this is Barton's bye week or bye part of the schedule, so they don't return to action until Saturday. They'll be in Goodland to take on Fort Hays Northwest Tech. And then next week they'll have 2 games. They'll host Colby next Wednesday, a week from tonight, before they travel to Independence on Saturday. Then they return to Southeast Kansas on Wednesday, March 5th, to take on Coffeyville, the team they are battling with right now for second place in the Jayhawk standings. Barton Wrestling, they qualified 5 wrestlers for the NJCAA National Championships. They'll be held March 6th and 7th in Council Bluffs, Iowa. Head coach Nathan Brockelman on the show Monday was pleased, shows his program continues to get better. One of those 5 wrestlers to qualify, former Gray Bend Panther Skylar McMullen. Skylar finished 5th at 141 in last Saturday's South Central District Championships held in Pratt, and just went out there and tried to wrestle as hard as he could. It paid off. So he'll be going to the Nationals. Jarrett Mater, 149. Jamal Garrett, 125. Caden Blake at 157. And Nathan Agudzi Otto qualified at 285. John Sherman, owner of the Kansas City Royals, making the announcement at spring training this week that he has decided to extend executive vice president and general manager J.J. Piccolo's contract. Royals promoted Piccolo, now in his 19th year to the team. That was in 2021 when he became GM, and then added the executive VP title a year later. And he was also second in voting for Executive of the Year last season as the Royals rebounded from 56 wins the previous year to get into the wild card playoffs in the American League. And, of course, they extended Matt Quatrero's option for 2026 as well. So spring training continues. Baseball starts Friday. Well, it actually gets underway tomorrow. Spring training games will start, and the Royals will take on the Texas Rangers on Saturday. Didn't have these yesterday, but the Kansas Basketball Coaches Association rankings came out, and this will be the last poll of the season. So the Gray Bend Panthers stayed at number 4 in Class 5A, so they'll go into the 5A sub-state at number 4. Highland Park remains unbeaten. They're number 1. KC Piper number 2. Capon number 3. Then you have the Panthers, Andover, a team that the Panthers beat in the Salina Invitational Championship game. They moved up a spot to 5. Shawnee Heights, 6. Bonner Springs, 7. Topeka Seaman, number 8. Emporia is number 9. St. Thomas Aquinas, number 10. Other area teams making the rankings. Pratt ranked number 8 in Class 4A. In 3A boys from the Central Kansas League, Haven is number 2. They have lost only once this season. Of course, they own that victory over the Panthers. Heston, who comes to town next Tuesday, is tied for 6th with Galena. And Goodland ranked number 1 in 3A boys right now. Mound Ridge, defending champion, ranked number 1 in 2A boys. But Sterling moved up a couple spots this week, so the Sterling Black Bears are ranked 2nd in the final poll. Hillsboro from the Central Kansas League is number 9. 1A Division 1. Central Plains checking in the final poll at number 8. Maxville number 9. And the Mavericks from Kiowa County getting in there. Kiowa County is ranked 10th, and Hodgman County holding steady at number 8 in 1A Boys Division 2. Girls rankings, Hayes High undefeated at 17-0. They will go into the postseason ranked 4th in Class 5A, so they didn't move there. 3A girls, Heston and Halstead, the top 2 spots in the Central Kansas League, and they're 1 and 2 in the 3A poll for girls. 1-2 Haven from the CKL number 10. The Ellenwood girls now up to number 6 in Class 2A. 1A Division 1 girls, Little River continues to be ranked number 1. They're going to be hard to beat. Central Plains number 5, and St. John is ranked 8th, and Hodgman County girls number 7 in 1A Division 2. So the latest poll out, that's the last poll of the season as we're getting very, very close to the sub-states getting underway. Larned was supposed to, the game Tuesday got canceled or postponed to tonight, but it's a little bit harder to dig out from all this snow. So the Larned game at Haven, they will play that tomorrow night in Haven. So we'll have that game for you tomorrow on Hits 106.9. It's Sports Day. It's Wednesday. Our show brought to you in part by Equity Bank, adding value for their customers and communities. Equity Bank in Great Bend, Hoisington, and Larned. Check out the locations tab at equitybank.com for all the locations. Also, Barton Cougar Booster Club continue their efforts to make the Barton Athletic Department the best in the country, and Great Bend Rec Commission dedicated to improving our communities and the lives of its individuals. I would assume that is us. We will take a break. Sports Day continues on this Wednesday after this.
Barton Community College's natural gas program gives you the skills and training you need to succeed. Current student Easton chose Barton to get him ready for the field.
I chose natural gas because I saw all the different type of hands-on work that they do. The technology is top-notch. Instructors are very knowledgeable of everything. Anybody interested in a career in natural gas, I really encourage them to come here to Barton. My name is Easton Juneau, and I'm a Barton Cougar.
Learn more at naturalgas.bartoncc.edu.
C&E Doors, this is Eddie.
Papa, what are you getting me off for Valentine's Day?
Well, Hadley, February is the month of love, and nothing shows love like a new garage door.
You're not just saying that because you own the company, are you, Papa?
Well, maybe a little, but honestly, a new garage door can really brighten up the home.
So, what are you getting me off for Valentine's Day?
You go, Hadley.
C&E Doors. Follow the orange sign south of 10th and Harrison, Great Bend.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Sean Powson, president of your local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you, and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time, and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people, so I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. Because at Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
Marmy Auto Group makes it happen. Central and Western Kansas. Check out our selection of new and pre-owned inventory. Marmy's friendly staff offers top quality service that you've gotten to know over the years. When your existing vehicle needs parts or service, our experienced team will get you back in the game this season. Marmy Chevrolet, GMC, Ford and Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep Ram, parts, service, and body shop. Visit Marmy Auto Group on 10th Street or marmys.net. Marmy's, make it happen.
It's all Sports, leisure, fitness and wellness, even senior and adaptive needs. It's all here at Great Bend Rec. Pick up a program guide or stop by the rec office at 1214 Stone in Great Bend. Or check out the website, greatbendrec.com. Live, play, explore at the rec.
It's all here at Great Bend Rec. Live, play, explore at the rec.
It's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
Sports Day also brought to you in part by the American Plains Co-op Bulk Fuel Department, where they feature number 2 clear diesel, bulk fuel, E10, fuel delivery, all your lubricants and fuel supplies, and by the Marmy Auto Group on 10th Street in Great Bend. I'm looking out the window here, and it looks like it's a bright, sunny day, so I thought, well, I'll go ahead and see how much we've warmed up to. We're at 4 right now as we continue to try to dig out of the almost 9 inches of snow here in Great Bend. 4 degrees, but just think when it's going to be here later this week. Heck, when we get to Friday, mostly sunny and 22, we're used to having it be 5 degrees below zero. Don't even need a coat coming up. So, yeah, there's a lot of high school talk on a Wednesday show, but none today. It's kind of after all the postponements and cancellations, so you might want to check with your school and find out where your games that were scheduled for last night are going to land. Well, maybe KU could have used a snow out yesterday or a weather out. Last night, they ended up getting drilled by BYU and haven't led for 80 minutes. That is amazing. Bill Self, I'll preface his press conference last night, when he went in, the microphones were pointed the wrong way, or the way that they usually are. They were pointing out toward the media. And as Bill Self came out, he noticed that, and that's what we start off with some pointed comments from Bill Self after last night's loss at BYU.
I haven't been able to figure crap out all night, but is there a reason why the microphones are pointed away? Is that the way it's supposed to be? That's a great question, Coach. First I've ever seen it. That's how they are? See? No wonder I couldn't get a team to guard tonight. I can't even figure this out. So, all right, have at it. Coach Davis just saw 36% from the field and 28, 23. What do you think contributed to that? Well, I thought we were awful, and I thought they were great. I think BYU could have beat anybody tonight. They were great, and then we didn't do anything to make them play less than great. We shot, offense stunk, but that wasn't it. It wasn't our offense. It was we couldn't stop them or get any momentum to stop them. I think we had one time in the first half where we cut the lead to 8. And we had 7 or 8 stops in a row, which is the only time that we actually had any success defensively the whole night. So I would say, now granted, their defense, they dared us to shoot and we didn't make shots, and a lot of things, their defense was very good, it was connected, it was sound, but it was a lot more than that contributed to the outcome of the game. Second straight game, straight up from 40 minutes. Second straight game, we got off to a slow start. It's not really the second. It's been probably 4 of the last 5, something like that we've gotten off to a slow start. So we tried a different starting lineup tonight, and it wasn't who started. It was just a collection of a lot of things that led to them being good. Now, granted, it was 8-0, if I'm not mistaken, and we actually took more open shots than they took. They made theirs, and we missed our open shots. And that's life. That's basketball sometimes. But that probably had as much to do. We had Juan had a naked 3. Zeke had 2, and Noel, he made a 3 in the corner the second that sucker hit his hand in transition, and then I don't know who else made the other one, but yeah, it wasn't as much early on crap offense. It was that we didn't make our shots, and they made their shots even when we actually did an average job defensively. And I think that contributed to the bad start. much as anything. A lot of it was probably some mistakes. You know, when you're switching 5, you don't have to help. And we helped when we're switching 5. I mean, I'm not going, whatever. I will say this, though. They made some open shots, but I won't look forward to watching the tape. But when I do watch the tape, I'll bet you some of those shots that they made were probably not the highest percentage shots that they could get. They just made them. Now when you leave, obviously, Mars or Saunders open, you can bank on them making 1 or 2. But, you know, they even shot it better than that tonight. Well, we were so poor, I don't think we felt the full energy of a building that it would have been a tight game. But I love this place. I mean, it's great. It's great. It's classy. It's clean. There's a lot of good things about it. The fans are actually as close to you, in my opinion, of any place that we play in our league. You know, you look at the end zone. What is it, 12 feet? The sidelines is 2.5 feet or whatever. I mean, it's good. It's a good place. They've done a remarkable job with this place. They've got really good players playing on it. So tonight, though, that's the best anybody's played against us this year, though. What was your goal with the starting lineup that you chose? Just to try something different. And you mentioned before the game, you felt like you were talked out, and you said a lot of different things. Yeah, I'm talked out. When you're at that point, I mean, how tough is it to continue having to talk to your team about? Well, the thing about we need to regroup, you know, get away from each other for a day and go home and hopefully be able to, you know, a lot of times with teams, there needs to be something happen to pull everybody together that is us against the outside. And, you know, we're going to have an opportunity to do that for sure. So a lot of teams go through it. We just haven't been through it much at all in a long time. So, but certainly we're going to go through it this time. So all we have of each other, and we're going to have to be strong for each other and be good teammates and good leaders and understand that, you know, it's if we need to look in the mirror, all of us, and what can we do to change the momentum, and then whatever we commit to doing, then do it. And tonight we were 1 foot in, 1 foot out in how we guarded and a lot of other things right from the jump. I mean, it was crystal clear how we wanted to try to guard them, and right from the jump, we doubted it and ended up hurting ourselves right there. Hi, guys. Thank you.
There you go, Bill Self, very frustrated, trying to figure out his team right now as they'll be home against Oklahoma State on Saturday. KU went 20 years without losing 7 games in a conference season. Now this is the second consecutive year that they've done that, losing 7 last year, and they already have 7 in the books this season. Bill Self from last night's debacle in Provo against BYU. We're going to talk Otis Bison High School basketball. Head coach Curtis Little is going to join us here next on a snow day here on Sports Day.
From the Mayo Money Management Studios, 1590 KVGB Great Bend and 95.5 FM K238CK Hoisington.
Pulling acres ahead of the competition is simple. Cenex Maxtron synthetic diesel engine oils give you the smartest oil for the toughest conditions. These premium oils are formulated with EnduroVis technology and a balanced additive package to control deposits for a cleaner, more efficient engine that gives you proven durability. Cenex Maxtron diesel engine oils. Oil that runs smart.
Contact American Plains Co-op Fuel Department in Great Bend, your certified Cenex distributor.
Hey everyone, this is Cole Ryan, voice of the Barton Cougars. Attending sporting events for Barton Community College is great, but did you know you can support the athletic teams even further by getting involved with the Cougar Booster Club? The Boosters help with fundraising for equipment and facility upgrades to give Barton athletes every opportunity to keep succeeding at the regional and national levels. Join the Cougar Booster Club as an individual or business. Call 620-792-9377. Become a booster today. Go Cougars.
Step into the spotlight with Barton Community College's theater program. Whether you dream of performing on stage or creating magic behind the scenes, Barton offers hands-on training, expert guidance, and creative performance opportunities. With top-tier facilities and a supportive community, you'll develop the skills to shine. Turn your passion into a career and start your journey to the stage at Barton. Learn more at theater.bartoncccc.edu.
Now, in its second decade, it's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
Welcome back to Sports Day here on a snow day. It's certainly that for Otis Bison basketball coach Curtis Little. So let us know what a high school coach goes through on his snow day, right? You're just home relaxing, doing nothing, correct?
I wish. For me, I have 4 little girls right now. My oldest kid is in 3rd grade, so I've been building forts, making rainbows, and trying to watch a little bit of film in between.
So has it been a good day so far? Everybody pretty calm, or what's it like over at the Little household?
You can definitely tell that it's day 3 of being home.
Wow.
They're getting restless. They're tired of the forts. They want to be outside.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, it's warmed up to 4 out there, and the sun's out. Come on, just send them out there. They
were begging us. We got a window right here at our kitchen table. They're wanting it.
All right, Curtis Little, head coach. So how do you want to get on a nice roll right at the end of the year, playing games and doing this, and then you have snow days. How do you handle that as a basketball coach with your basketball team? What can you and can't you do?
So luckily we were able to practice on Monday before everything came in, and then with our snow day yesterday, we had no official organized team activities. So we watched little films, sent some clips out to the guys, and then it seems like stuff will be cleared this afternoon, so we'll be able to get in, hopefully run up and down and shoot a little bit. We got a game Thursday, Friday, and Tuesday, so we've got a lot of learning to do today.
Yeah, so who will you have on Tuesday?
On Tuesday, we will play Hutch Central Christian in our first playoff game.
Okay.
It will be
so you guys get started with postseason play next week. It's right around the corner. So wow.
Yep.
So
yeah, our goal is Sunday, so it's right there.
So at this time of the year, okay, so you come in, you've played 18 games right now. So I'm going to ask you a general question. Kind of sum up your season all in one general statement from start to where you're at right now, Curtis.
Man, we have improved a ton. We started off the year, won a few games, and then we went through a stretch where we played Victoria 100 times, we played lacrosse 100 times, we played Victoria a few times, and man, they just had our number, it seemed like. But it really feels like we're kind of hitting our stretch here of late. We've had some injuries, but luckily some young guys, some other guys on our team have really stepped up and we've been playing well.
Okay, you mentioned you've improved a ton, so what areas have you really improved in since the beginning of the year, Coach?
I think really our ball handling and decision-making. We kind of switched to more of a spread offense this year with one post. That took a little bit of learning. But really getting downhill, trying to decide who's defending us, who the helper is, and then making our decisions based off of that.
So you're getting healthy now, so who is out and who's back, and I guess give us a roster update right now.
It seems like everybody's going to play going forward, hopefully. We had a stretch where Logan Meyer was missing. He's a senior that started 3 years. One of our best rebounders, defenders, kind of knows where to be at all times. We missed the Juno kid on Friday. He's been a real low-post presence for us, a leading scorer in a lot of our games. So trying to mix some pieces together. We actually had a freshman play a ton on Friday, Colton Corey, and he had a fabulous game. He was in the right spots on defense. He made three-quarters of the shots. Like, it was a very impressive performance from him.
Okay, and tell me about, Kelson Juno, we talked to him during football season, and, I asked him, how does it feel to be, the only center in Kansas that catches touchdown passes? He's very agile for a big man, right?
Yes, sir. He has great hands, great movement skills. Our kids sometimes throw it up to him too much, maybe have a little bit too much faith in him. But he's very reliable, and he can move really well, which is surprising for his size.
Have you been a good rebounding team this year? Because Logan Meyer, he's pulling down 7 boards a game, and then Juno about 7 boards a game. Has rebounding been one of your strengths this year?
I really think so. This year I got a new assistant coach. His name is Anton Faust. He was a player for me a few years ago, and he's done a great job keying in on rebounding, and he notices things I don't. When people are boxing out on the backside, when guys aren't being quite physical enough, he's a guy that's really, really improved that for our team.
Okay, talk about your senior, Jake Hoopengarner. He's probably the guy that everyone looks to on a young team like you have.
Yeah, he's really taken a step, especially this past month. He's a guy, when we weren't good the last few years, had to play probably too many varsity minutes when he was a young guy. But my word, he has improved so much. His leadership skills the last couple of weeks, calming guys down when fouls don't quite go our way or when we have a turnover. He just had some great leadership for us down the stretch.
Okay, go back to February 11th. You knocked off St. John 45-41. They were coming off a win over Central Plains. And it kind of leads me to my next question. But first of all, talk about that win over St. John.
Man, that was a great defensive effort for us. So Logan Meyer didn't play, and then we had some other kids that were dealing with some illness and other things and weren't quite 100%. So we had to end up playing a lot of zone that game, which we haven't done much this year. And I think that kind of gave our guys a little bit extra juice on the offensive end. And like you talked about earlier, our rebounding that game was pretty spectacular.
Then you come back Friday and knock off Nest City, so you kept that momentum going.
Yeah, we actually scored the ball a little bit against Nest City, which was really, really nice. I talked about Colton Corey early. He played a little bit for Kelson Juno. We got Logan Meyer back to play a little bit. So everything was just a lot smoother. It felt like we were finishing and moving the ball really well.
Okay, so line up the next two nights. So you get Maxville and Ellenwood. Yeah. Nice, easy way to stroll into the postseason, right?
Oh, man, what a stretch. The extra hard part about it is obviously not scouting, but they have two players that are just so good, one from Maxville, one from Ellenwood, that are just spectacular. So our guys know about them, talked about them, played against them for years. So obviously they're at the top of the scouting report, but I think as we play more and more team defense throughout the year, we don't focus as much on those individual matchups, and hopefully we can get some stops, rebounds, and hopefully move the ball well enough to score on the other end.
Okay, and then you go into sub-state play next week, so there you go. Tell me about what you've been able to find on Central Christian this year.
They're a team that ball screens a lot. They run some junk defense. They've got a really good point guard with some size. It seems like he just lives in the lane. They also have another kid. I don't know if I've seen him miss more than 2 shots on a few films, and they're going to be a really, really tough matchup, especially for the first round of a sub-state game.
How long have you been at Otis Bison now, Curtis?
Oh, man, I've coached basketball. I think this is my 8th year coaching basketball and 12th year teaching.
Okay, so tell me about the CPL this year. I mean, many years you can almost predict the matchups and the outcomes of these games. Talk about the depth this year in the CPL. Is it as good as you've seen it, or were there other years?
I think this is one of those years where the high middle is probably better than it's been, but it doesn't feel. There's a few teams, obviously that could go on a run and do some incredible things, but I don't think any of them would be considered to be state favorites this year. But the overall high middle depth, holy smokes, it's tough as it's ever been.
Yep. Okay. So I guess kind of sum up your feelings right now as you're at home with 4 kids. Getting ready for 2 consecutive nights of basketball and then postseason competition. How are you feeling right now?
I'm excited. I'm really, really proud of how our guys are playing right now. Everybody is locked in. Basketball is a long, long season. It's much longer than volleyball or regular season football. You kind of go through ups and downs throughout a year, but I really feel like we're hitting our stride right now emotionally and skill-wise.
Coach, appreciate the time taken to tell us about your basketball team. Good luck the next couple of nights, and you should go into postseason play next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, Curtis Little, head coach of the Otis Bison Cougars, with us today on Sports Day. Coming up, we'll talk to voice of the Tigers, Gerard Welbrock. That's next.
Sandy Doors, this is Eddie.
Papa, when are you getting me off for Valentine's Day?
Well, Hadley, February is the month of love, and nothing shows love like a new garage door.
You're not just saying that because you own the company, are you, Papa?
Well, maybe a little, but honestly, a new garage door can really brighten up the home.
So, what are you getting me off for Valentine's Day?
You go, Hadley.
C&E Doors. Follow the orange sign south of 10th and Harrison, Great Bend.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Sean Powelson, president of your local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you, and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time, and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people, so I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. Because at Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
If you're needing a healthcare plan for your business, let the experienced and dedicated staff at Freedom Claims Management Incorporated customize a health insurance plan that fits your business's need. Regardless if you're a large corporation or a small business on Main Street, Freedom Claims Management Incorporated can help you provide your employees with great health coverage at an affordable cost. Visit freedomclaimsinc.com where you can schedule a free, no-obligation health assessment today. Freedom Claims Management Incorporated in Great Bend.
Some people call him Gerard. Most people just call him Grr. It's time for Tiger Talk on Sports Day with the voice of the Fort Hays State Tigers. Here's Gerard Welbrock.
Indeed, Gerard Welbrock with us on the show today, brought to you by C&E Doors, your full-service garage door company. Follow the orange sign south of 10th and Harrison, and Eller Automotive Repair, where they specialize in wheel alignments, oil changes, and general maintenance for all makes and models of cars and small trucks. All right, Gerard Welbrock, chime in. What's wrong with your Kansas Jayhawks right now?
Not very good. They're just not very good.
Yeah, it's easier to just turn them off now, isn't it? Gee, many Christmas.
Yeah, that was something last night, I tell you. It's been I think Bill Self said it well, teams go through this, just, Kansas hasn't very often, and they kind of do it seems like every team and program deals with.
Okay.
And probably will more in the future, just, it's a different time.
Oh,
different time.
Okay, so give me the inside skinny. So who's applied for the Fort Hays State Athletic Director's job?
Good question. I thought you would.
Well, I don't know. Have you seen, like Trevor Rolfe's name come across there or anything?
I have not heard anything official. I've heard there's been a lot of interest from a lot of different people, and we'll just leave it at that. And I haven't heard anything official.
Okay.
I really haven't dug too much. It's been, how it is, kind of busy. But
okay,
I've heard a few names pop up, whether they have applied or not, or who people think might, and some of it is proximity. So, yeah.
Okay, I was just wondering.
You can connect dots that way, but I have nothing official.
Okay, all right. There's Fort Hays State insider Gerard Welbrock.
I'm not
too close into it. I got you.
And I truly haven't dug to ask, hey, who's all applied?
So what is the timeline on that? I think I asked you that.
Curtis is on till the end of, I think it's end of June, the fiscal year. And so whether they want the new person in there by then, and there may be a situation, too, he stays on a little longer to help, whenever a hire is made to help that new person out a little bit, because he's not moving anywhere, so. But his contract, I think, will run through the end of June.
Okay, all right. Are you tired of me asking those questions now?
No, that's perfectly fine.
Okay.
I thought you'd do a little more prying. I just haven't done it.
All right, let's talk Tiger basketball right now, and we'll start with the Fort Hays State Lady Tigers, 22-2 on the season, 13-2 in conference. What's the vibe up there right now? I mean, you've got coming up tomorrow, Missouri Southern is in town, but let's see, Pittsburgh State comes to town on Saturday. What kind of vibe is there about this weekend for women's basketball at Fort Hays State?
Well, I think people are excited. It's been weird because of the weather. You don't see as many people because it's been cold, and snow, and so it's kind of strange. You don't maybe have that normal buzz because of that. I think there's people excited, and hopefully, looks like the weather will be a little bit better by then, and they get a good crowd. I mean, obviously, it's going to be one of the top games of the nation for Division II women's basketball on Saturday, but you got to take care of business first with Missouri Southern on tomorrow, who is certainly a capable team, and Fort Hays State just has to keep grinding. It's interesting because, you start looking at hosting regionals, and I think Fort Hays State's right now has a lot of work to do to even be considered for that. There's so many good teams in this region this year, and it's always a really good region, but I've seen some projections right now. Fort Hays is a 5 seed. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, I mean, right now Missouri Western's getting a lot of love for their 2 wins over Fort Hays State, which I get, but then they've also had losses. And then, and the MIAA is using what's called the KVI index or ratings for the seeding, which takes into account, since it's not an even schedule, it goes with your strength of your opponents, because basically it's north-south. Well, I think the north probably has a little bit of an edge, so Western has been ahead of Fort Hays State. Tigers actually dropped to 3rd in the seedings, and Western stayed ahead of them, even though they lost again, but they lost to Pitt, and Fort Hays State beat 2, well, Newman's not real good, and we'll just be there, and Employer's record isn't good. So those 2 wins didn't carry as much weight as a loss did. So I think it's kind of a flawed system when you lose and you gain ground for someone who wins, but that's what it is for the seeding purposes. Now, they don't use that for the regional, but I think Fort Hays State's fortune as far as that goes will be determined here the next 2 weeks. You have Southern, and obviously Pittsburgh, and they have Kearney twice on the final week of the regular season. Those last 3 are top-tier teams, the top 3 as far as the records go in the conference. You sweep them and win it out the rest of the way, you're going to be just fine, because now your strength of schedule just skyrocketed. Or you lose them, and then there's no hope of that. So, really their fate will be determined here in the next 2 weeks.
Okay, so are you really concerned about Missouri Southern, or is that coach?
I'm not going to say coast.
Okay.
If they plays their game and they play like they're capable, they should win the game. I think they're the better team. Southern's capable. But I think Fort Hays State has to have, a bad shooting game, or they're just not locked in. And I haven't seen that from this team. I mean, this last weekend to me was a big indicator, because you go to Emporia, who's way better than their record. They've been playing with teams really tough. They're good enough to hang with about everybody, but just can't beat them. And I thought it was going to be a tough game, and it was. But Fort Hays State found a way, and they pulled away, had a great second half. And the Newman's not very good. It'd be very easy, back on the road. It ended up being, they were supposed to be down and back trips, but because of the weather, they got, you had an extended road trip, which you weren't expecting, and a lot of reasons to now play well, and they did, and they played outstanding. And the second half against Newman was really, really good. So I like their attention to detail and just taking it one game at a time. So I would be shocked if they don't play well tomorrow against Southern. I think it's a veteran group who've been through a lot of these, and they've got high goals and aspirations, and they understand what it takes, or if you don't get it done, what happens. So I'd be shocked if they don't play well, and then obviously Pitt's really, really good. There's a reason their record is what they are, and you look at that game a little bit. Probably my concern in that one is Pitt's strength has kind of been Fort Hays State's weakness. You look at the 2 Southern losses, it's been defending the 3-point shot, and Pitt shoots it as well as anybody in the country. I know Fort Hays State's been focusing on improving on that, and I think they've gotten better. We'll see if they can defend it better. They're going to have to, because that's how Southern or Western beat them those 2 games, was the 3-ball, and we'll see if Fort Hays State has gotten better at defending the 3-point shot.
Okay, so give me the top of the MIAA standings right now. What's it look like?
No, right now, if you go by record, Pitt is 1, Fort Hays State's 2, Kearney's there 3, Western's right there. I think those are the top 4, and I think there's a little bit of separation. There's just, you've got a bunch of teams. To me, those are by and away the top 4 teams, and you look at how the results have been. I think it's proven it, and you might even. Kearney would be. I truly think Pitt and Fort Hays State are the top 2. When you look, Western's had a few losses. They couldn't beat Kearney. We'll see if Fort Hays could beat Kearney. But then Kearney went out 2 weeks ago on that Central Missouri Washburn road trip and lost twice. And so now they're kind of behind the 8-ball. And I've seen some projections. They're not even in the NCAA tournament. Western's in over them. So this is obviously going to be a big stretch for them as well to finish it strong, to kind of get back in the mix. We'll find out. I'm sure they're in the top 10 of teams considered. That should come out later today from the NCAA. The first region not poll, but just a ranking, just region. These are the top 10 teams in alphabetical order who are in consideration for the NCAA. So that gives you the idea of the top 10. And then next week we'll have the first region ranking, and then there'll be one more going into the MIAA tournament. And then obviously it'll be Selection Sunday, the Sunday night after the MIAA tournament. So don't get as much time to speculate, but we'll have a better idea. Kearney will be in that mix. But I think for all these teams, even for Pitt, who I think is in the mix right now to host, but they need to keep winning because obviously they go out and they've got Kearney, they've got Fort Hays State here down the stretch. I mean, these are two big road tests for them. They win them, they're going to be in a good position to host. If they split or lose two, it's anybody's game. So I think Fort Hays State's still in that mix, but they've got a lot more work to do. As crazy it is, this year's 22-2. It's like, you probably lose one more, get to the semis of the tournament. I think it's a lot. It's anything but this year.
Jordan Welbrock, voice of the Tigers, with us. What makes this Fort Hays women's team so good? What's been the key this year?
I think they're a little better defensively than they've been, and I think they're capable of defending the three. Sometimes, like the Western game, it's personnel. Western's got their five is like a three position, and Fort Hays State has a true five. It's just hard for Hollenbeck to go out and defend that. So that's some of the problems. But I think by and large, they're a little better defensively. I think they shoot the ball a little bit better. The numbers show they do. And they've had stretches where they don't shoot the three particularly well, but it seems like they don't go through long spells of just not being able to shoot the three ball. In years past, they've been okay, but players like Ellie Stearns, who's been in the program for 3 years now and has really struggled last year, and she's been much better shooting the three. Brooke Levy, their point guard, has been scoring a little more than she did. She was kind of just the distributor, and she still is. She's NCAA. I need to check this afternoon. They were slow in getting the national stats, but she's been top 3 in the nation in assists most of the year, and she still will be over 7 per game. She'll turn it over a little bit, and if she can knock that turnover number down, but it's kind of with her. You'll a few because she'll make a few just remarkable plays, and sometimes she gets credit with a turnover that's not really hers. It's just the way the play goes. But she's elevated her game, and then DeGarmo, Katie DeGarmo now has just been she's reigning player of the year, and she's played like it. It'll be interesting to see if she gets that again this year because there's been 3 or 4 who've had player of the year type seasons. But she's really starting to come on strong here, especially down the last couple of weeks. And then Olivia Hollenbeck inside. I mean, she's been so good. But it's really those 3, DeGarmo, Hollenbeck, and Brooke Levy, the point guard, that kind of makes them go. Then you add Telexa Reeder from Goodland, who has just been instant offense off the bench. She kind of looked human the last couple of weeks, but then against Newman kind of got back on track as I think some teams figured out how to defend her, and she's had to kind of figure that out and readjust. And I think she's also trying to figure out how her game matches with some of the size you get in the MIAA and what her strengths are. And I think she took a step forward in that, but she's been really, really good this year. So you add all that together, I think they've clicked. I thought before Christmas in December they were playing incredible, national championship type level. They have not quite gotten back to that since the break, but I kind of feel they're getting closer, and it feels like they're starting to peak at the right time, which is obviously what every coach and every team wants to do.
All right, let's go to the Tiger men right now, 16-8, and I guess the good news is 3 of the last 4 games are at home, where they're 12-1 this year. Where are they sitting right now in the MIAA and the region?
Well, we'll find out the region. I don't know about this is a year that on the men's side you can lose a few more games. But with 8 losses, I don't know. It'll be interesting if they'll be in that top 10 or not. They might be. We'll see. They're for the KBI. They're right in that mix. There's a couple teams have played extra games, but they're right there in that. They could still finish second if they have finish these next 2 weeks strong. And so I think they're trying to get to a top 4 spot for the conference tournament, and certainly can do that. But they just, they have, offensively, they have been limited this year. And I've been a little surprised because at the beginning of the year, they were so much better offensively than they've been. But it's been a struggle. I think they've got some new players that they got into conference play, and as you know, it's different. And in the MIAA, which I think, and I've said it all along, what sets the MIAA apart from other conferences is the depth. And it's not even, okay, when teams have to win, teams have to lose. So the records, even from teams toward the bottom, aren't going to be great. But you watch them play. I mean, I go back to Arkansas, Fort Smith. They knocked off Washburn on Thursday night last week. Number 1 team in the country, undefeated. And after Fort Hays State played them the Saturday before, I wasn't shocked at all. When we were monitoring their game and Fort Hays had played in Emporia, didn't shock me at all. Like, they got some dudes. And if you get them, now the problem is they just can't keep it together all year. But they got some guys who can play and are athletic and can shoot, and they had the night where it all came together. But it's like, so I remember they left Hays, it's like, how does this team have 9 wins this season? I was incredibly impressed. It's just, some teams just can't keep it together for a whole season and have too many ups and downs. But there's some good talent, and Fort Hays State, unfortunately, has run into that, and then they'll just go through stretches. They cannot score. They've had more 4 or 5 minute runs without scoring, or maybe just a couple of free throws, and it just, the good teams, there's too much to overcome. They kind of had that again on Saturday at Newman, but found a way to win it. And kind of the difference in the Newman game Saturday, they went 4 or 5 from 3 in the second half, and the one missed was late in the shot clock. They kind of had to heave it up. Then they win by 8 or 9. You have a double-digit lead. You get a little breathing room. When they've shot it at an okay rate, they've been pretty good and able to win. It's those games they don't. Because the Emporia State game was Central Missouri all over. The only difference, Emporia plays faster, so there were a few more possessions, and they didn't score 31. They got in the 40s. But, yeah, they've had too many of those games, and it's kind of just who they are. Some of it's the injuries they've had to deal with. Guys aren't nearly what they were, and then I think a few of them, it's in their heads now, and it's kind of like I hate to say this, a golfer gets the yips, how hard it is to get rid of it.
Don't say that.
I know it, but for some of the guys, you can see it. Every shot feels like they're shooting up a lead ball up there instead of a basketball. It's been hard to watch at times, but hopefully they saw it go through the hoop a little bit on Saturday, and that'll carry over and get a few of these younger guys to start, hitting a few shots, because if they get some confidence offensively, they'll be fine.
Have you ever, this team still can win 20 games.
Absolutely.
But they've had 2 games where they scored 44 and 1 game where they scored 31.
Yeah.
Normally teams are going to be they're going to be 8 and 16.
Well, and this is funny. Brett Bauer's going to be MIAA Coach of the Year, and he should be. But and again, I've said this before, you tell me, you give me another coach in the MIAA who's sitting at 16 wins right now with some of the things Fort Hays State has done and gone through. And you're right, they could win 20. It's going to be hard, but they could win 20 or even 18, which is a heck of a year. And it's like not very many win. You're right, you'd be sitting at 5, 6, 7 wins, and yet they find a way. Now, one of them's Caleb Haskeen. He just wills them to win. He had a 32-point game against Newman. He was special. And but you're seeing for some of these guys, too, the mileage. It's been a lot of games. But hopefully they've got a little bounce in their step now. And being at home, they have played well at home. And, I'll always like their chances at a home game to maybe not necessarily win it, but they're going to be in it down the stretch and may win more of those than lose. So hopefully that's exactly what they need. But not going to be easy either. Southern's a wild card. They've got great talent. They just don't always play well. I've watched a few of their games. It's like, man, they're good. And then, wow, who is this? Pitt State has had Fort Hays State's number in recent years, just the matchup. And then Kearney's much, much better. Very athletic and kind of the anti-Tigers. So it'll be an interesting Final 4 games for them.
Man, yeah, that's and then, of course, the MIAA tournament's right around the corner. So here we are. So
yeah, exactly. How'd that happen? I got here quick.
Okay, renovations, how are those going?
They've done some work, and I think with the winter, last time we were out, I was on signing day, and, the steel structure of the locker room facility is up, and, you can see where they're doing a lot of, I think, stuff behind the scenes. I think as the weather warms, you'll start seeing a lot of improvements there. It will not be done obviously, before the season. And I don't think it's going to be all the way done even by the time football rolls around next year. It'll be completed sometime during the season. But you see the metal structure, and it's like, wow, that's, you know, you start getting steel up there. It's a lot bigger than when you just see a concrete pad. And it's like, that's going to totally change the dynamics of Lewis Field. That's going to make that a pretty cozy place when that thing's done.
You know, that was almost almost stopped the game when we were officiating up there, Norton playing TMP, and the kick was so bad it went in the construction zone, and we didn't have a ball. We didn't have a ball to play with.
My only complaint, they put the net behind the goals, and for some reason on that end they're very narrow compared to the one, and I don't know why. And I've seen, you know, during pregame warm-up for a 4 days game, if someone's off the mark a little bit, it doesn't have to be off much, and it's in there. I've not seen the game. It never happened in the game, but he's got to go dig it out.
It was like Sandlot, you know. The ball went across there, and no one wanted to go get it. So, hey,
there's a giant dog in there. That was a good move.
All right, appreciate it, and have fun this weekend. It's going to be a big weekend of basketball.
Should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it.
Gerard Welbrock with us, voice of the Fort Hays State Tigers.
When it comes to car maintenance, it's good to know a local guy that can get things done. The Eller family has been in the auto repair business in Great Bend forever. Greg Eller continues that long tradition of helping people. Eller Automotive Repair specializes in wheel alignments, oil changes, and general maintenance for all makes and models of cars and small trucks. Open 8 to 5 Monday through Thursday, 8 to 4 Fridays. Eller Automotive Repair at 915 Morton, right behind Great Bend Appliance, Furniture, and Sleep Source, 10th and Morton.
Dr. Nels here, Animal Medical Center, and today we want to give a shout out to all the supporting cast at these basketball games. We have some great young men and young women on the court, but we also have some great young men and women playing their instruments, cheering, dancing, all those things. Let's clap for them. When they perform and get done, let's show them a round of applause, show them some love as well, because they deserve it. Dr. Nels here, Animal Medical Center, large or small, we take care of them all.
Okay, we're back. Sports Day here on 1590 KVGB, 95.5 FM. I've been following this because the general manager of the U.S. team in the Four Nations Face-Off Hockey Tournament said he would welcome a visit from President Donald Trump to the championship game between the U.S. and Canada tomorrow night. NHL veteran Bill Guerin said on Fox News that Trump's presence would give a boost to the rivalry between North American hockey powers. He said the political tension between Canada and the U.S., which caused fans in Montreal to boo the Star-Spangled Banner prior to 2 games last week, ratcheted up the intensity in their fight-filled matchup in the preliminary round. And let's see. The president hasn't said one way or the other yet whether he's going to come to that game. I'm watching hockey tomorrow night. How about that? Team USA against Canada for the Four Nations Face-Off Hockey Tournament title. Something the NBA ought to look at. They need some help with their All-Star Weekend. So that's part of the NHL All-Star Weekend. They play games that really don't matter, but they really do. So that's going to be tomorrow night. Thanks for joining us on Sports Day today, the Wednesday edition. Stay warm. We'll be back here tomorrow on KVGB.